Hey everybody, Adam here. This is the second in our video series, Wild Colonial Boys Anatomy of a Song. This is where we'll get into the real nitty-gritty of how we take a song from absolutely nothing, from just an idea, and we form it and craft it through to completion. So enjoy. So this whole idea started back this past spring when we were in Vegas. We had a week's worth of gigs in Las Vegas, and the venue put us up in the musician's apartment that they kind of rented. Not extremely ideal, right next to the airport, kind of crummy, really loud, noisy, but you know, we were there, we were having a great time. It had no TV, no internet, so in order to fill our time without just wandering around the Vegas Strip spending tons of money, we did what musicians do. We sat down and we decided to write some music. This song, A New Day's Coming, came out of that effort, and we liked it particularly, so we thought we'd do this project with it. It first started because we had with us in Vegas our kind of adjunct fiddle player, Carrie Joy. She was filling in for Tony, and she had this great Scottish tune. The type of tune is called a strathspey, which is one of the main types of Scottish traditional music. You know, kind of like a jig or a reel. A strathspey has got a 16th note rhythm with this kind of lilting little jump at the end of it. And not to get too into the details, but we thought it would make an excellent song, upbeat, and we could do a lot with it. And that's something we've done in the past, is we'll take a piece of traditional music, something that inspires us, and we'll either lift it directly or we'll use it to inspire an original tune. A lot of our material is like that. And it's a lot of fun to take something that has existed for a long time, sometimes a couple hundred years, and make it into something new. So Carrie had this strathspey, and she played it for us, and basically what we did was we sat around a couch with our instruments, and people started throwing ideas out. We had just this melody. How were we going to turn it into a song? A lot of times you basically just start, how about this? How about this idea? Ooh, what if there, based on your idea, we do this? And kind of, you know, it builds from there in kind of a committee-like approach. Which is a lot of fun because it's creative, and when you get everybody involved in it, then the product, I believe, is that much stronger at the end because you've got all these great musicians contributing to it. We started with the strathspey, and then we start throwing these ideas out, and we start to think of a melody that we could write that the singer would sing. A melody, for those of you who don't know the musical term, is simply, what a singer sings as part of a song. Row, row, row your boat, da, 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 da. That's a melody, just single note line. So one of the first things you want to do when crafting a song is create a melody. Underneath that melody goes the chord structure, which makes up the harmony, if you've heard that word. Harmony describes the underpinning. The melody sits on top of the harmony, which is made up of the chords. Chords are 3 notes or more played at the same time, right? So once we have the melody, we have to figure out, okay, so what harmonic structure do we need to have? If I'm hitting this note in the melody, let's say a D, well, what chords would work under that D note? A D chord, a G chord, you know, there's obviously a bunch of them, but we start with the melody, that's the key, and then sort of build it from there. And the cool part, again, is that we're all contributing to it. We're all throwing out melody ideas, we're all throwing out harmony ideas, chords, and we craft the parts from there. This process is called arrangement. It's where we start to take the song sections and order them and arrange them into the overall form that we're going to be using, right? So once we have all these ideas, we have to sort them out logically and figure out what goes where. That process is something that we call arrangement. We figure out what's a verse, What's a chorus? The chorus is the main part of the song that we repeat several times. That's the most important musical statement and lyrical statement as well. It kind of gets your point across. It's the thing that typically contains what's usually called the hook, which is the catchy musical phrase that really grabs the ear and makes a song cool. The arrangement decisions would be things like, how many verses do we have before we go to the chorus? How many verses are there total? Should there be a pre-chorus section? What's the bridge going to sound like, and where is that? Is there a guitar solo? Do we repeat the chorus at the end? There's any number of different things you can do, and it's all entirely up to you. I mean, these are rules that you learn and then break, because that's part of being an artist. So each of these song sections is kind of like a brick in our house. It's like a Lego construction, each of those little bricks or Legos can be moved around and placed wherever the songwriter, in this case the band, feels that they need to go. We have done nothing at this point to address the lyrical content of the song. It's all just been about the music itself. At this point, it's an instrumental. So we've sat down and we've figured out, generally speaking, and this stuff can all change, but generally speaking, where, how many verses we're doing and where the choruses go and what they're going to sound like, that kind of thing. I don't typically even like to think about lyrics until I have a cohesive song structure laid out, at least roughly from beginning to end. And once I've figured that part out, then we'll worry about the lyrics. And this is no hard or fast rule. Everyone does it differently. Elton John, for example, always wrote music to pre-written lyrics. His writing partner, Bernie Taupin, would create, lyrical poetry, and he'd give it to Elton John, and Elton John would sit down at the piano and bang out a song based on the words, which I find particularly incredible. And I'm, of course, no Elton John, but I've always done it, the opposite, where I'd like to have the music first and the melody first, and then the melody informs the decisions about writing lyrics. So we had our melody, we had our structure, we had our chords, we had everything we needed to start writing the lyrics. So basically what we did was sat down with a phone, just used the phone memo record function, and we played it instrumentally, and I recorded it on my phone. And then what I did was I took it into my bedroom in our little apartment in Vegas, and I sat down with the phone, put the earbuds in, took out my notebook, and started jotting down rough ideas. Lyrics can take anywhere from 5 minutes to 5 days to come up with. Typically, the quicker the lyrics come, I find, the better the song ends up being. But you never can tell. So I sat down and I began to think, well, what should our song be about? Here we are, we're in Vegas. Vegas is always a good topic to write a song about. Obviously, there have been hundreds of them written, so let's do a Wild Colonial Bhoys Las Vegas song. So the lyrics have lots of Vegas type phrases like, fold your cards, roll the dice one more time, that kind of thing. And so the song ended up being about kind of hard luck and hard times, but having a sense of hope, because you know that it's not always going to be that way. I guess in a literal sense, soon your trip to Vegas will be over and you'll be headed home, and you'll have a next paycheck. So that's where we came up with the lyrics and what they ended up being. So once I had the lyrics done, I brought them out to the rest of the band, and we gathered once again, and everybody made comments and sort of adjustments. And sometimes it's tough because you as a lyricist, you have kind of sort of an ownership stake in it, and you feel territorial in a way, but it's very important to realize that you're in a group situation and that everyone's input is welcome. So we did a round of revisions, and when everybody was happy, we sat down for real and we had someone film it, and we filmed the song just rough live, and that's what you saw in the last video, was a rough playthrough of the song, and that's the song we're going to take and we're going to make it great. that is the nucleus for A New Day's Coming. That's a little bit about how we write, what our process is for songwriting and arranging and lyrics and all that good stuff. In the next video, I'm going to start to show you how we go from song to recording. Okay, we'll take that rough recording and we'll turn it into something really great. We'll start off with a little studio tour. I'll show you a little bit about the gear we have and use, and then I will show you how we start the whole process off literally from scratch using what we call a scratch track. That scratch track is a guide track. I'm going to record myself singing and playing guitar, and I'm going to be listening to a little metronome in my earphones that I'm wearing, my cans. That metronome is typically referred to as a click track because it sounds like a little click and it's a rhythmic pulse to keep me on tempo. Then we'll be able to layer the individual instruments on top of that. We'll start with Pete. He'll do some drums, and we'll do bass, and we'll re-record the acoustic guitar for real, and we'll show you how we build that house one Lego brick at a time. So that's in the next video. I hope you look forward to that. I certainly do, and we'll see ya. Take care.